Africa is the youngest continent on Earth, with 70% of its entire population being under the age of 30, with a median age of just 19. And yet, if you look at the halls of power across the continent, you will find some of the oldest leaders on the planet. The average age of an African president is over 62 years old. In some nations, the gap between the ruler and the ruled is a staggering half century. This is not just a gap in years, it is a clash of entirely different worlds. Are we even ready for this conversation? There is a huge political disconnect in Africa, and that political disconnect is the greatest bottleneck to the future of Africa. Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. Honestly, I'm not as enthusiastic today because while I was making the research for this video, I was met with some data that just kind of like weakened me. But anyways, that's exactly why I do what I do, and that's why you're doing what you do. There's a huge gap in the political space in Africa, a huge disconnect. And if we do not act, it's a huge disservice to ourselves and to the future generations. We used to sing the song in secondary school that we are the leaders of tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, this is tomorrow. We're still not leading. Because I just think about it and realize that if we do not lead now, when the tomorrow of the next generation comes, that's when we will now be struggling for power. Or worst case scenario, this generation will not have an opportunity to lead at all. If I look at both extremes, I desire neither. I don't want to rule where my children should be ruling, and I don't want to sit and do nothing when I should be in power. I mean, I don't mean me directly, I'm just saying we, but you get my point. We have a serious conversation today, and I'll call it the gerontocracy crisis. It is a crisis. Let's get right into the conversation. My name is Oduanyo, your host on Built by Africa. Today we are diving deep into the gerontocracy crisis on the African continent. Why does it exist? And how is it being challenged? And like I always do, I don't just give you a word without explaining the meaning to you. So what exactly is gerontocracy? You can almost guess, but I'll explain it to you. Gerontocracy is a form of government or organizational control where power and decision making are predominantly in the hands of older people. Older people in this case, people who are significantly older than the adult population of the people being governed. For example, Africa. So now that we understand what gerontocracy is, let's get right back into the conversation. So now to understand why Africa's leadership is so old, we have to look back into the mid 20th century. During the 1960s and the 70s, a wave of revolution swept the continent, throwing off the shackles of colonial rule. And so the young freedom fighters who led these revolutions automatically became national heroes. They were celebrated as the fathers of their nations. But then a dangerous political pattern emerged as a result of this. The liberation movement rarely transitioned into modern democracies, and so instead, the heroes of the evolution became entrenched. Because they fought for independence, it made sense that they became the first set of leaders. Many of them, in the time that they were leaders, national leaders, were in the prime of their lives, in their 20s, in their 30s. Anybody in their 40s at that time was old. It was an anomaly because many of them were in their 20s and in their 30s. But decades and years down the line, the young freedom fighters became older, but they have refused to pass the torch. Maybe it is them who are not passing the torch. Maybe we are the ones who are not making any movements. But there's a problem, there's a disconnect somewhere. Now, the political parties that were formed in those times, they have become patronage networks where loyalty to old guards mattered more than competence or innovation. It is very impossible to find anybody in a political position in their 20s or their 30s. That's a problem. And so while leadership remained frozen in time, the population underwent a radical mutation. The generation born after 1990 has no personal memory of colonialism or early liberation struggles. They are not voting based on historical nostalgia, but based on current reality. And that reality is defined by internet, global connectivity, and a desire for immediate economic opportunity. And so this has created a profound structural mismatch. The tides are changing, power should change as well. But here's the most tragic paradox about African politics today. Even though the youth have the overwhelming number to completely rewrite the political story of the continent, they are not showing up to vote. Across the continent, youthful involvement in politics, either voting or participation, is getting lower than it has ever been since the independence of these African countries. The generation with the most things to lose has largely boycotted the ballot box. While, yes, you cannot really blame them for being cynical, because honestly, when the young people look at politics, they see a rigged deck. They see things that doesn't encourage active involvement and participation. And many times, many of them even feel like participating in a rigged system means that you're legitimizing it. And so, because of that, many of them just tend to focus on their personal hustle, building tech startups, as is common now, finding ways to just migrate abroad. But what we don't understand is that choice to not act is actually much more dangerous. It is a dangerous trap because by choosing not to participate, you legitimately hand over power. Imagine the vast or the number of youth on the continent and there is apathy. And so by choosing not to participate, what we're doing is we're still handing over power to the people who have been there for the longest period of time, forgetting that for change to actually happen, we must actually be the change we want to see. We're forgetting that they don't need the entire country to vote for them. They just need the majority of the voters to vote for them. And if you look at the gap, the people that are not voting are significantly much more than the number of people voting put together multiplied by two. And so our decision to not do anything is actually doing us more harm if we are humble enough to admit it. When we decide to stay home, we make it incredibly easy for an aging government to maintain absolute control and power. Silence is a weapon, and our silence is their weapon. The moment we choose to keep quiet, they're winning. And the push that we get when we speak is pointer to the fact that we're saying the right things, we're knocking on the right doors. But many times we see those pushback as discouragement, and so we get discouraged and we sit back. But again, our silence is their weapon. Our silence is being weaponized. And so it's not like we're being locked out intentionally. It's not like we're being withheld from participating or from being involved in politics, not just in the voting, but in running for office. It's not like power is being withheld from the younger generation. It's just that we're structurally locked out because the collective majority refuses to play. They refuse to play because they believe that the game is rigged. For lack of a better word, even though I think this is the best way to put it, political apathy is a trap. It is a trap. So now I want to pose a question to you. How exactly do we fix political apathy? The numbers don't lie because by 2050, one in every four people on the planet will be an African, and the vast majority of them will be young. The old system of government is reaching their expiration date. We really cannot govern a 21st century population with a 20th century mindset. The future of African politics will not be determined by who fought in the wars years ago or who has been loyal to their godfather. As beautiful as loyalty is, I'm not against loyalty, but you get my point. But the future of African politics will be defined by those who solve the problems that people are going through, those who provide jobs, those who provide free and quality education, infrastructure, security of lives and properties, those who can unleash the trapped potentials of the world's most vibrant population. The torch shouldn't just be passed. We should actually reach to take it. I believe, and I know that it is time for a new generation of leaders to emerge on the continent. I really want to hear your thoughts in the comments. When are we actually going to take power? Many of us are in our late 20s. I am in my late 20s. And many of our heroes past were in power in their early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, early 30s, late 30s. So now the question that I want to ask is it difficult to step into the political arena now than it was years ago? Or are we just not interested altogether? I want to read your thoughts in the comments. And thank you for watching this video to this point. I sure hope that it gives you a perspective and it also causes you to act. This is a rather unusual video, but I'm glad that you watched to the end. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.